One second.
Sorry?
Yeah, so I think, Anita, what do you say?
Yeah, anybody's like it's perfectly fine. So we'll go with
I
Pranay
never
first.
Okay, so one second. Let me just start with the intro and then we can, follow with the main session, right?
Sorry?
I'm saying I'll start with the intro and then we can follow with the main
Anita,
session.
what do you say?
Done, ma'am. Anybody's like it's perfectly fine. So we'll go with Pranay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another very useful session of Career by Design. As you are aware, today's session is curated around a mock-up interview. So today, we are going to help you experience a live interview session of two people, one of whom has a 30-year experience and the other is a fresher just starting his career. Isn't this super exciting? So, while on the one hand, we would be interviewing an experienced professional, on the other hand, we have a totally new entrant in the corporate sphere. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about taking this session forward. And without wasting much time, I shall quickly run you through a brief introduction of how and why and by whom these Career by Design sessions are conducted with some of the most exceptional coaches and subject matter experts to guide you personally month after month. Well, Career by Design is a brainchild of Amazing Workplaces and Commander Navneet Bali. It is a series of events that we conduct to help job aspirants, be it students, employees, or transitioning officers, to help them prepare themselves for the job market. We do this through workshops and sessions like mock-up interviews, expert Q&A sessions, consultation sessions, etc. Amazing Workplaces is a global employer branding, content and media platform. Organizations across the globe write and talk about their best practices on amazing workplaces to make themselves stand out as great employers in the eyes of their future employees. Commander Navneet Bali, our chief mentor, is an ex Navy professional. He is director, Northern Region Narayana Health. Commander Bali is committed to mentoring students, especially in the healthcare segment, to take to help them take the best career decisions for themselves. Our first panelist for today's event is Neha Lal. Neha is an award-winning healthcare management leader, Senior General Manager, Ops and HR, GCS Medical College, Hospital and Research Center. She is a proactive change agent who spends time in employee environment, encouraging, learning, and promoting the increased productivity that results in value-added services. Our second panelist is Anita Jayakumar. Anita is an entrepreneur, a polymath mindset coach, an NLP practitioner, a design thinker, a YouTuber, and a public speaker. She is a seasoned capability building and coaching professional with 20 plus years of experience across different sectors, geographies, functions, and has exposure to both established corporates and startup environments. As an entrepreneur, Anita is the founder of the capability building firm, the Mindstream. She is also the co founder of the financial services firm, the Money Stream. Let me also introduce you to our two volunteers for this mock-up interview session. Believe me, it takes great courage to be able to come forward and face an interview panel completely live. Our first volunteer is Pranay Agarwal. Pranay is a performance-driven professional with nearly 3 decades of rich and extensive experience in hospital administration. He has experience in new setup and establishments, HR management, team building, and leadership led productive across functions, cross functions, teams using interactive and motivational leadership that spurs people to willingly give excellent results. Since Pranay is looking for a senior management role in healthcare sector, we shall be interviewing Pranay for the same for Narayana Hospital. Our second volunteer is Prudvi Gopisetti. Prudvi is an enthusiastic student, eager to contribute to team success through hard work, attention to detail, and good organizational skills. Motivated to learn, grow, and excel in healthcare sector, he is driven to make the world a better place and to bring about the changes that he dreams of. Prithvi is currently doing an internship at the Indian Council of Medical Research. He is looking out for a role in the healthcare sector in the technology and R&D space. We shall be interviewing him today for an entry-level role at Cloud9 Hospitals. Coming to our sponsors, Upgrad Recruit is a recruitment and staffing solutions company that supports organizations in building their human capital. With a deep understanding of business and functional requirements and a strength of over 100 recruiting experts, Upgrad Recruit has set an excellent benchmark for experts for industry sourcing capabilities and niche hiring skills. And yes, I'm Ekta Kapoor, your moderator for today's event. I'm the co-founder of Amazing Workplaces, an employer branding media platform for human resources. I sincerely believe that people are at the core of every organization and need to be nurtured in an environment of great culture. I'm passionate and extremely curious about the best practices that form the foundation of any workplace culture and people management policies. So once again, a warm welcome to Commander Bali, Neha Lal and Anita Jayakumar, Pranay and Prudvi, and all of you who have joined us today. Thank you for choosing to learn today. It just shows how dedicated you are towards your growth. And I assure you that you shall go back from here more enriched with a lot of takeaways. And while I hand over the stage to Commander Bali and our other panelists for a quick word, I would request you all to write about your vocation and experience in the comment section so that we all can know you better. Thank you. Commander Bali, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ekta. And I would formally welcome every one of you here, taking out this time on a Sunday, lazy Sunday afternoon or morning, means a lot to us. So thank you very much. But be rest assured that this session is a very unique one in which two very successful professionals are going to actually interview two very, very curious and wanting to learn individuals who want to do something better in their life ahead. I would personally thank Anita and Neha for having taken out time today morning. I'm sure there are a lot of things which remain pending in normal households on Sundays, but thank you so much for having taken out this time to be with amongst all of us. And for every one of you, I would only request as we go through the interview, you could make some notes, write down or think something to guide us in the end, although we will also tell our own views about how the interview went. But I think an interactive session with all of you where everyone points out some good thing, something that could be improved, I think that will go a long way, because it's possible that some things miss out our eyes. And since every one of you is joining, so it will become much, much, much better then. Thank you very much, Ekta, for organizing this.
Thanks, Commander Bali, for setting the stage for the event. And now, Anita and then Neha, just a few words from you before we start off at.
Okay, so yeah, I'm happy to be here as always, because I do believe Career by Design and Amazing Workplaces are doing their very best to build the bridge between talent and the corporates. And yes, personally, I feel that the fundamental block of any organizational success is to put the right person in the right job. And it's pretty much like the way marriages are elusive. To quote something colloquial in Hindi, 36 gun milne chahiye. So I think that's what goes through in an interviewer's mind, ki, how much gun can I really, try to meet for the roles that I'm hiring for? because it has huge financial, business, and long-term cultural implications. So any effort towards that direction is very close to my heart. And of course, I know I'm in an esteemed company, and I'm loving the fact that some great candidates are here. So you're happy to take this forward. Over to you, Neha.
Thanks, Anita. Yeah, Neha.
Yeah, hello guys. Very good morning. Very good morning to my colleague that Anita and Mr. Commander Bali. And I'm really having a pleasure to interact with I would say the very senior and leadership role of position at Narayana. That is for Mr. Pranay Agrawal. So I hope and look forward for the very good interaction where other participants, other members actually could, learn something. We also can learn something that what is coming new in the industry. I belong from the healthcare industry, and I know that, I keep myself updated, but, hearing from the other partners, other colleagues, I think that's a very enriching experience of myself. So I look forward for a very, very insightful discussion with the Pranay and others. Thank you.
Thanks, Neha. So we formally start off. So who do we start with first? Yeah.
Pranay, are you ready?
Pranay, you can unmute yourself and
Yeah.
you can put on your camera as well.
See you. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Good day, everyone.
All the best, Pranay. Let's start.
Good day, everyone.
Right. Request to Mr. Pranay, if I initiate the discussion, would like to have your short insight of your professional career, just to understand your role much better way and, to interact more in detail.
Well, I have over 30 years of experience, out of which 10 years I have in healthcare. Earlier to healthcare, I was there with my family business. So we were dealing in gems and jewelry and settled quite places abroad. Under healthcare, I've done about 10 years. Worked in a couple of hospitals in a senior position of CEO and COO.
That's right.
Where I was looking after the PL and every aspect of the hospitals.
Yes.
Under educations, I've done the MBA in HR, MBA in healthcare, MBA in safety, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD into management, which hopefully should get over this year.
Right, that I can see in your resume. Sir, what made you to take up HR first and then getting into the healthcare? Can you just elaborate on that?
Once I left my family business, I thought about getting into HR, but then I found healthcare to be more interesting. So that's how it happened. I did HR first, then I did into healthcare.
So didn't you had any platform to deliver your expertise as a HR in any of the healthcare organization?
Well, I was working as a CEO, and so all the departments were reporting to me.
Sure.
So I was looking into the HR facilities also, how they were functioning and everything.
Sure. Okay.
MBA did help me a lot with the HR.
Neha, if I can interrupt, Pranay, can you push your volume up, or you can move closer to the mic? Yeah, your volume is pretty low.
Can you hear me now?
And also, please get your camera to move down a little bit.
Give me a moment.
Yeah. We want your volume to be high, your energy levels up, your camera to be positioned rightly.
Hello. Am I more audible now?
Slightly better, but and also please move your camera a little down. Yeah, much better. Much better. Volume should be a little more up, or you can speak a little louder.
All right.
Okay, sorry about that, Neha.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much, Commander Bali. Okay, so you were talking on human resource and your role as a CEO and kind of stuff, yeah.
That's right. Now you can hear me well?
Yes, I can, yeah. Hope others are able to hear him properly. So as I see from human resources, you have opted for the advanced diploma hospital management and then MBA and then health and hospital management and then PhD. So I believe you have developed quite a good interest in the healthcare after having HR and all that. So yes, So that is from 1920. Is there any kind of, feeling that you had that at this particular age you are pursuing your MBA or PhD or something like that after having your
Not
flourishing
really.
career?
Why should age make a difference? I didn't see age should not make a difference in education.
Right.
Because I believe there is no age. Hello.
True.
Hello.
Yes, we can.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Agarwal, we can hear you. Yeah. Hello. Hello. You'll have to unmute, sir.
Give me a moment.
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Fine.
Okay. So I was saying age is just in the mind.
Correct.
It should not have any effect on the education.
Right.
I still believe after completing my PhD, I want to do LLB.
Sure.
So education never gets over.
Right. Nice to hear that. Right. So I had also observed one thing in your resume that, you have picked up a very senior role in various hospitals. I would say in Maharashtra, 2 hospitals. One was Medical College Hospital. One is private and corporate hospital for about 5 years. And then you have worked with a medical college for about 1 year. And then again moved to Ruby Multi-Specialty Hospital for about 2 years, close to 2 years. And then couple of months at senior manager operations with the Sourced Hospital, Navi Mumbai, and now that you are working with the Ethos Hospital, Kota, Rajasthan. Any kind of, I would just like to understand that change in the role and change in the organization and company, I would say quite a good number of jumps. So do you find any
remove this?
So
yes.
Yeah, so any specific reason why you have changed these many companies? Yeah. Guys, please little excuse us. He's setting up his system. Please excuse us for 2 minutes. Yes, Mr. Agarwal, are you set?
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are. Yeah.
Video is creating some issue with the bandwidth. Let me just try once more. Okay, please continue.
So is there any reason to change these many companies at the shorter duration number of, the changes in position, changing in companies and hospital? What made it do so in a similar state? If I look at the four companies are from Maharashtra and then you move to Rajasthan finally.
Right. The first hospital which I was in, I was there for 5 years.
Right.
Then I moved on to SSPM Medical College. I got a good break from that hospital, first one. The reason for leaving that job was it was a very remote area, being a medical college.
Okay.
So there were no education facilities for my school-going kids at that time.
Right.
So, and secondly, I had to stay at their place all by myself.
Right.
Being a remote place, my family was staying in Bombay, I was staying in a village. So that didn't suit me. So that was the reason I moved out from there. Then I came down to Bombay again. I joined a hospital in Bombay. I was there with Ruby Multi-Specialty Hospital. About 11-12 months I was there. Then I got into a corporate sector, Swasth Hospital, which was a corporate hospital.
Right.
So I wanted a corporate exposure, so I moved on to Swasth. Unfortunately, Swasth, the management, the promoters went into bankruptcy.
Okay.
They went into IRC. So the hospital itself, the promoters got bankrupt, the hospital has shut down. So I was searching for something. I got something in Kota, so I moved back. I moved to Kota. Again, I felt I made a mistake because Kota, I was hardly there for a long time.
Okay.
I moved back to Kota and come back to Bombay.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Again, Kota is a very small city.
Yeah.
Education was a big problem. Being an educational hub, I thought Kota would be a good place.
Yeah.
But what I realized was Kota is good only for medical and IIT entrance exams.
Okay.
Nothing else. So I came back to Bombay. Plus in Kota, the hospitals, the promoters were 7 promoters, none of them from the hospital industry, and they kept fighting among themselves in front of the staff in the hospital. So it becomes very difficult to operate an organization of such place.
So you have already left Ethos Hospital, Kota.
I've already left Ethos Hospital.
Right.
And currently, I'm doing my thesis for my PhD, so I've got a job in hand.
Sure. So what is your plan? I mean, what is that you are looking forward?
I'm looking for a corporate type of hospital where I can go and settle for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Okay. So Neha, if I can just
Sure.
talk to Pranay about a specific, because in Ruby Multi-Specialty Hospital, Mr. Agarwal, because that seems to be the longest in the recent times. There is a role that you have said that you instituted and executed high-level hospital administration strategies. Okay.
Yes.
That means you made high-stake decisions where the situations were complex. Can you give us an example of one such situation, and what was the high-stake decision that you had to take?
The fixed expenses were very high of that hospital.
Okay.
Compared to what they should be. So I had to cut down on the staff, the excess staff which was already employed there earlier to me, and make sure that the existing staff is there as per the minimum requirement of the job profile, and patient care doesn't get affected. So that was a very important decision which I had to take, and whom to keep and whom to remove was a very difficult part. So,
and how did you go about that? So yeah, I agree, that's always a difficult thing. So how did you go about that, the process?
I looked into their CVs and I took individual interviews of all the staff, and I looked into their previous work profile and the output they were giving me. And on basis of the functioning of their, I took a call.
Okay. And I'm sure there must have been some heartburn when you have let people go, right? So what steps did you take to deal with that part of the human part of the story?
Well, I gave them enough notice period time. I let it to them. Okay, you want 1 month, you want 2 months, 3 months. Okay, I'll give you that much time. Get another job and then move on. I just didn't let them off overnight.
Okay. And if I were to ask you, what is one learning that you got from, let's say, doing an activity like this? What would that be?
It was quite difficult. Asking someone to leave is something very bad in any place. But if you have to work with your PLs, then you have to let off some people sometimes.
Okay. Can I ask you like a tough question?
Sure.
So, when you say things like, okay, remote area did not suit me, somewhere the culture was a problem because people are fighting amongst each other. I took a call to go there, but then I again realized it's not a right thing. So to me, kind of appears that there needed to have been more thought before you took an opportunity.
Yes, possibly that could be correct. But as when I was in Swast, the hospital was bankrupt and the whole thing shut down overnight. So I was left with little choice. I got a good opportunity, so I moved in. Yes, I should have done my homework before I moved in, which I didn't go.
So what is something you will do differently when, let us say, we are considering you for a senior role in a healthcare industry? Like, how would you approach it?
I will definitely like to look up to the hospital, their background, their working structure, and I don't want to join a hospital which is a startup hospital because it becomes very difficult to work with the promoters there. So an hospital which is already running, functioning is a place where I would like to join. Like Ethos Hospital, which I joined in Kota, was absolutely starting from scratch. So I had to build up all the departments, engage the doctors, engage the staff. It was too much of work for me, too much of mental pressure for me. I was putting in 12, 14 hours a day non-stop worked over 3 months without a break, not even a Sunday break. So it put in a lot of mental pressure for me, which is, I don't think so. I should lose my mental health because of a job.
Okay, and that's interesting because Pranay, when I look at your whole profile, there seems to be like a lot of work-related stuff. Okay, like if it was mind-boggling stuff. So what does Pranay do to take care of leisure or mental health or for fun?
I do yoga exercises, so I have my evening walk.
Okay.
Listen to some light music before going to bed.
Okay.
Yoga is very important. Yoga is very important.
Why is that so? Like what do you learn from yoga that you can bring to your next workplace?
Yoga and meditation it makes you a lot of peace in the morning. When I do my meditation for 15-20 minutes in the morning, and then I do my yoga or vice versa, it relaxes my mind very well.
And how does that help you perform your role better?
If my mind is relaxed, I can take decisions much better, faster, in a more orderly manner.
So let us say, hypothetically, if you were to again join somewhere where you see conflicting situations like people disagreeing with each other, what would you do differently?
Disagreeing is always there everywhere. No two people will think alike. There will be a disagree, but there should be some logic in either of them. When you are not from the industry and you start talking illogical things and you want them to be implemented, it becomes very difficult to work for a hospital. You don't know how to handle a patient. You don't know what the patient needs. And you are telling me to do that for the patient because I'll give a very, very minor example. Like a hand wash in the washroom. There were dispute in that कौन सा hand wash खरीदने का कितने का खरीदने का क्या quality खरीदने. They had a two days of discussion on such a small issue. The 7 directors, and they kept disputing among themselves, which is so difficult. You have a decision, you have a problem of a major issue, dispute, fine, but not such petty things you start making, then what happens? Things won't run in a place.
Okay. But sometimes people do hire people from diverse backgrounds because they feel like एक नया perspective मिलता है, there is like a freshness that is brought into the administration. So you might have to sometimes work with people who have no backing or background of the industry. So how will you kind of work with those people? Because they may, like you said, they may seem very illogical.
It's possible for me to convince 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, but all the directors convincing them all the time, that means that they are coming at different time. I'm spending 3 hours, 4 hours with the directors, convincing them where do I do my work. I need time to do my work also. I can convince 1 person, I can convince 2, I can convince 3 people, but I can't convince 7 people. That was a big problem.
Okay.
There will be diversification. There will be people from different background having different ideas. That is acceptable. Ideas are always welcomed in any industry. They will be good for the industry.
What do you count as your biggest achievement to date, Pranay?
Managing profit and loss of an organization, and then looking into the team leadership, building up the things, JCI, NABH accreditations.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, may I?
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. Yes, so coming back to the NABH and JCI, which you have mentioned about in Birmole Hospital, Navi Mumbai, where you have worked for 5 years and where you have got your hospital NABH accredited, right? That's a main project you have dealt with. Can you give us a kind of a situation where you have managed a large team? I think when we talk about the team in the hospital, they comprised of, from security or housekeeping to your level. I mean, I'm talking about the senior leadership. So what kind of strategies, or I would say the quality improvement tools which you have adopted in order to achieve NABH in a shortest span of time?
Well, I had the HODs working with me for the NABH as per the standards laid down.
Okay.
And I have done my course for NABH, so I knew what was required, what was not required. So I was guiding them what is to be done for each department, and they were doing their job. So things did work out quite well.
No, but as far as I know, the consultant, the doctors, and the nurses as a major group, they have a lot of resistance to do the quality practices and implementation of the policy and procedure itself. And plus, with the digital era, everything is digitalizing, and all your quality indicators, your KPIs, and all your results and projects getting into digital format. So, how did you dealt with that situation where the consultants are not comfortable with the computers and they have a habit of, handwriting papers and medical records? So did you face the same challenge? Yeah.
The only challenge I faced was with the consultants. Rest of the staff, they did adapt to the new.
Okay.
Because they were of the younger generation.
Sure.
Nursing staff is also majority of them are from.
Yeah. So this is this challenge everywhere, every hospital facing. So how did you overcome it?
For the consultants, what I did, I gave them a junior who was well versed with the computer field, with the technological field. And consultant did their own way, and the junior was doing as per NABH requirement.
I see.
And the consultant simply signs the paper.
Okay.
Otherwise, very difficult. Consultants, they say they don't have time. That is also correct.
And which hospital? Sure. And which hospital you have undertaken JCI?
JCI, I was working at Birmole Hospital only. I could not do it completely. I left for the
same hospital. So you had opted for the JCI. Can you just enumerate 3 major changes between NABH and JCI?
Patient care is the major change.
Okay.
KPIs, more KPIs have to be maintained.
In JCI?
In JCI.
Okay.
And JCI is more of a patient-centric thing. That is what I know.
Okay. Yes. So any situation where you had a lot of, I'm sure Anita has already covered, but then just to know a bit in detail from the hospital perspective, was there any situation in any of the hospital you have worked so far wherein there was a huge conflict and then some legal issues were arised and you had to manage that?
Medical legal cases always comes up in a hospital.
Okay. No, did you face any and how did that happen?
Never had such a big issue with them. One of the hospitals, I had a very bad case where a pregnant woman was operated by a fake doctor. Abortion was done and the fetus was partially inside and we had to do a major surgery. That turned out to be a very big medical legal case which we had.
Okay.
That had to be, the police had to be dealt properly and things had to be put properly everywhere.
Okay, so that you had, okay.
That was a very tough case we had to handle. And then the woman belonged to a tribal community, so that added to the problem.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, with the whole villagers coming and bouncing on the hospital, a mob coming in. Yes. So mobs are one difficult aspect which I have learned in hospital industry. Second is if there is a death in the hospital and then convincing the relatives, and the worst part is getting the money out of them after the patient expires.
So protocol of the end of life care, and that is something. Okay.
So these are a couple of difficult things which you have to handle.
Just before handing over to Anita, I just would like to ask you that, can you just, mention your weaknesses? Strength we have already discussed, and what kind of weaknesses you think that you have?
How would I know my weaknesses? I will
be honest.
I will say I have no weaknesses, obviously.
Okay, fine. Okay, over to Anita.
So why necessarily a full-time opportunity, Pranay? Because, especially in today's dynamic times, 30 years is a very long tenure to have already worked, right? So why specifically another leadership role at a hospital? Why not do something else?
I have done business my whole life. And I have taken my share from my business and moved out. So I have my investments which are keeping me afloat. To keep myself busy, I am doing into the hospital industry. And obviously, when I have my knowledge of a leadership role, I'll prefer a role which I can do justice to.
Okay. Today, when you get back to a workforce, there will be, cross-generational people, right? There'll be very young people from different geographies. So, considering that you have so much of experience, do you foresee any challenges that you might face in terms of dealing with people?
I don't see, because I've been always dealing with young generations and I'm a very good teacher. I believe in giving up my experiences to everyone. So I keep teaching everyone how to do things, and the younger generation are always good to work with. They are eager to learn.
Okay. Okay, cool. I think I'm good, Neha.
So, as you mentioned that you would love to teach and you'll have to impart the knowledge to the younger students, the aspirants. I mean, what would be the 3 best advice you would actually, extend to our students?
First is keep their mind cool. They are very warm-blooded, get irritated very fast. So
Okay.
you have to be very cool. Second thing is, any situation you need to analyze before taking a decision. Don't go about taking a rash decision. Use your brain. And it's always, I believe in a simple concept of 24 hours, 48 hours. Wait for 48 hours before taking a major decision in your life.
Sure.
Don't
So
take
very
it
quick.
instantaneously.
Very quick to be noted. I think I really appreciate those. And as you know that we are evaluating your candidature for group called Nara and Rudalya, right? So did you have any homework done as to what the NH is now and what is the size of Nara and Rudalya group and what is their future good looks like?
It's one of the major groups of India into healthcare sector for quite a few decades. And they have a lot of hospitals around India.
Okay.
In Bombay also they have one with SRCC hospital is affiliated with Narayana Group. So it's a very good group which will be love to work with them.
How many hospitals do they have in India? If
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't.
Okay. Any idea? Because Narayana, Dr. Devi Shetty himself, I mean, he is an entrepreneur and the chairman of the group. He is into a lot of, digital governance as a group, as a governance body. So kind of initiative they take in order to, adopt the technology that is so best. So did you have any idea as to how they are progressing and how they are covering up all the hospitals with the digitalization?
No. Because every hospital has a different setup for the IT sector. So basically, I know how the IT sector of a hospital works, what type of technology is required, what type of softwares are required, what type of records have to be maintained digitally. I have a conceptually idea of how things have to be done. Right. Specifically to a specific hospital, once I get into the hospital, it's very easy to learn the software and learn the system. It doesn't take me much time because I am being into computers my whole life. I did my computers.
Yes, that I've seen, advanced computer system course. Yeah.
That also I did when there was a PC. There was no hard disk in the computer. If you remember those times, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm into computers from last 30 years. So I have to.
I was just guessing to know about the use of more of artificial intelligence in the medical era. This is what the healthcare is. Healthcare is progressing toward. There are a lot of updates which is there in all the medias, and we keep on reading about the initiatives. Even the government of India is taking a lot of initiatives on the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, that is ABDM. So under the ABDM, a lot of initiatives with regard to technology and I would say the software and IT is going to be involved. So that is what I was thinking to hear about. Anyways, that's.
I did attend a conference also for artificial intelligence into healthcare.
Right.
That was organized in Bombay.
Right.
So there also I learned a lot. Technology, as I said, I am quite good with that.
Okay.
For me, learning further is not a problem.
Okay then. Yeah. I'm almost through. Yes, Anita, do you have anything ahead? Yeah.
I'm through.
I'm through. Yeah. Thank you. Then over to Ekta. We are through with Mr. Agrawal. Thank you so much, Mr. Agrawal, for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Neha.
Very brave of you. So we'd like to really acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Thank you, so. Thank you very much. Good day to you all.
Thank you. Yes, Ekta.
Pranay, thanks, Anita and Neha. I think that was, really very, very interesting, and we were glued to, trying to listen to the answers. So that brings us to Prithvi. Yeah. So we'll have Prithvi's round, and then we'll together, kind of give a feedback to both of them. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So welcome, Prithvi. From here, Anita and Neha will take on. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, Prithvi.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, very good morning. So I think I'll ask the boring question. Tell me something about. Sorry?
I just wanted to intervene because there was some problem with, Pranay's sound. Prithvi, just take care that, your sound is pretty audible. Yeah, so that everybody is able to hear your answers very well. Yeah, just try your level.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
And you might want to hold the mic a little lower because otherwise we'll hear your breathing more than your voice. So just be a little careful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell Neha and me something about yourself. What has been your life so far?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Very
so I'm Prithviraj. Excuse me?
Yeah, no, go on.
Yeah. I'm Prithviraj and I'm a BTech Computer Science graduate. And then I chose my career into healthcare. So after my BTech, I got into healthcare management at International Institute of Health Management and Research. I had completed my first year and then I'm doing my internship with ICMR, National Institute of Pathology. So my experience here is fantastic. Like I'm so glad that I took this opportunity and I'm working here. And I chose this field because a lot of things happened during COVID and I'm so much moved with things that happened in the healthcare system in India. And so I decided to do something. And I felt it's like a vocation I felt. And so I decided to take it. Like after completing my bachelor's, I got placed into Uber and TCS and all, but yet I chose to leave all of them to pursue this. So, and I believe that I can bring a potential change if I desire for.
So this is your first work ex, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Other than that, I already had volunteer experiences, and this is the professional experience.
Right. So I did see that you have been a student volunteer and served as president, in multiple association bodies. So what are 3 lessons that you have learned or gotten for yourself as a result of these experiences?
Authenticity.
Okay.
I always have to stay authentic and courageous.
Okay.
And that's it. Like, and you must have to be in a position where you have to held responsibility for. And when you are in that position, never going back. If you have taken it, you must have to stand for what you believe in and what you did.
Okay. So can you give an example where probably your courage or your authenticity was challenged?
Yes. So like NABH accreditation to all the hospitals, we'll also have certain standards for all the colleges for CSI.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to do 2 or 3 national conferences and state level conferences and certain events and guest lectures in the college. And yes, when I was called by the local body president here for Visakhapatnam chapter, so we weren't able to do those many things, but our college yet managed to substitute, like they brought someone from other college as a guest lecturer and they wanted to keep that in CSI, which is not ethical though. I mean, that's just a normal guest lecture, which isn't stated. But yet I spoke up. I stood for myself because if tomorrow they recall or reject, I'm the person who is responsible for what happened. So I stood there authentically. Even though it sometimes take a backlash at my college, but yet I have to stand for myself for what I did and what I believe it, and I did it. I'm glad that I did it.
Okay. That's nice. That's nice, Prithvi. So I'm thinking a little more now. Neha, if you would like to ask something.
Yes. Good morning, Prithvi. How are you? Nice to have you here, and many congratulations for doing your hospital management for IHMR Delhi campus. So yeah, I having the very strong background. As I see your resume, you are going to be very successful in your future career, because there is a huge demand of such a combo, which I am just talking to. That is BTech plus hospital management, and it's just, you must have heard that healthcare is, quickly wrapping into the digital and technology and applications mode and all that. So a lot of
I could be a
opportunities.
potential bridge.
Yes, so that is going to be a lot of opportunities, and a lot of initiatives are going to be there. Funded initiatives are going to be there from government and other agencies. So yes, you are at the right platform. Just wanted to understand that, as you are coming with the technology background, how will you change the healthcare, paradigm? I think if you are getting into any hospital, any healthcare organization, what will be your first area where you can make difference?
Operations.
Operations. See, operations is a very vague word, very wide word. Yeah. So be specific. Be specific in which operation. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a PMJY Yojana. Hypothetically, just think about the high PMJY scheme to be implemented in any large size hospital.
Exactly.
So that's
Yes,
a
I just
PMJY
wanted to think
operations.
about
Yeah.
that.
Now, hope you are aware about the PMJY scheme launched by the Narendra Modi ji. Yeah. So, what will be your implementation strategy for that project?
My implementation, I had a vague answer for this
Mhm.
because I cannot get into too technical things right now, but I can say something like this is a little vague. Pardon for that, but yes, I'll have to say this one. I had an experience with one of my relatives.
Okay.
He's coming from a tribal background, and yes, his health isn't doing good from the past 6 months. So he had some ulcer and some issues in his stomach, where
Okay.
his rectum is blocked and all. So he need to get a surgery, for which he applied for the PMJAY scheme, so that
Okay.
he'll get the money to get the operation done. And when the patient's condition is critical, it took around like 1 week to get that authentic confirmation from PMJAY and that
Yeah.
insurance money
It happens. Yeah.
for the operation to be
Yeah.
completed.
Yeah.
And within 1 week, and within that 1 week, he lost one kidney,
Ah,
and his health is totally deteriorated. So
okay.
if I get into that, I would do something to fasten up the process
Very nice.
digitally.
Yeah, because it's a government scheme, and government also deals with the TPAs and insurance company and a state health authority. It's very difficult to get through. I understand. Same experience
Yes.
being, experienced by many of the hospitals these days, and that's a very challenging area to manage.
And yes,
So yes,
right
that
now,
weakness.
right now in my current experience, I'm working as a junior research officer in Gandhi Medical College.
Okay.
So
What?
for every such things for PMGA insurance schemes or whatever it is, these people will come to get the medical records, and the
Right.
medical records in the
Right.
hospitals aren't maintained very well.
Sure.
Like especially in the government, what I'm witnessing is a very poor condition where I could bring about a big change in that.
Mm-hmm.
If there are digital records that can be retrieved quickly, that
Right.
would help the patient a lot.
Mm-hmm. Fine. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, Anita.
Sure. Prithvi, you have written that you've got a Best Paper Publication Award in one place. Could you elaborate what did you publish the paper on?
That is uh, classification of algorithms using YCAT environmental tool. That's a data mining tool that we use to determine diabetic patients. So we'll go with the past data in different cases. We'll examine and we'll do the little analysis with the K-tree algorithms or B-tree algorithms, and we'll predict whether the patient is prone to be diabetic or not, and if yes, what kind of medication he like, what are the precautionary things that he have to do.
Okay. And what was the start point that you had, or what was your thought process when you went about like researching and publishing this paper?
To be honest, there's no start point at that point of time when I'm doing my bachelor's. That was a project suggested by one of my seniors, and we did it together.
Sure. Okay. And I also saw that you've hosted Bookaholic Club. What
Yes.
is your favorite book as of now? Like something that you want to recommend to everybody?
Wings of Fire.
Okay, APJ Abdul Kalam's.
Yeah. Because that was my first book actually. When I was in 3rd class, my mom bought it to me as my birthday gift. Yes.
Oh, very precious then.
And what
Yes.
do you practice or get influence from the book? Like, what do you like about it?
Perseverance. Never give up.
Okay.
No matter what, never give up. Just try and try and try and try.
Okay.
Right.
So
At least you'll be called, at the end of the day, you will be called as someone who tried. Even if you weren't a successful person or something, but at the end of the day, you will have that satisfaction to yourself, where you can keep your hand on your heart and you can say, I tried.
Okay. So Neha, I just have one more question. Is that
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Yeah. So you have given 4 references. Clearly, they are very senior, accomplished academicians.
Recommendation.
If I were to ask them, okay, what are 3 things that Prithvi is good at, and what are 3 things that Prithvi needs to be better at? What would they say?
I'll tell the first thing. What are the 3 things that I need to be better at?
Prithvi, I want you to listen carefully. I'm saying if they were asked this question, what would they say about you? So I'm not asking you what do you think is your strength.
I exactly know what they are
Asking.
going to say. Yes, I exactly know what they are going to say because they always tells me that I'm so confused. Yes, I'm so confused sometimes because it takes a little time for me to get into any decision. So, and I'm very dilemmatic sometimes.
Okay.
I do a lot of research to get into a decision. So sometimes I end up getting them mad with all the questions that I ask, and I'm nervous as well. So those are the 2 things that every one of them are going to say. They always tell that to me. Work on that.
But if you ask me, I did not find you any which way. I mean, I have never find you the confused. You are coming up with a lot of personal experience and they are relating to your professional career. So I think I don't right, Anita. I think you're quite straight person, and I do not see any hesitation or thinking something or blushing on something. I mean, we are very quick in answering whatever you know honestly, and that is what makes you as a Prithvi.
Yes.
Anyway,
okay. So, and what do you think they will say are your strengths?
I'm committed.
Okay.
That's the only thing they can say because I'll always go to them if I have to do something, and if I have a doubt with that subject, I'll always go to them, no matter even they are busy all the time, till I get my answer.
Okay. And would you agree? Like, would you agree that these are your strengths and these are your areas of working? Or would your answer be different?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I know myself.
Okay. Sure. Yes, Neha.
You find, I think these are not your weaknesses. I would say these are all strengths. You know about your weaknesses and you are going to work on that. And that is something is a self-realization and really appreciable. Thank you, Prithvi. I think that's all. I really wish you a very successful career in the healthcare. A lot of opportunities are there. And I'm sure that you'll excel through very successfully. So my best wishes to you and all the very best. Very nice talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prithvi.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Neha and Anita, and thank you, Prithvi, for taking it up so well. So over to Commander Bali for a brief, overview of this session, and then we can come to the, final points of what went right, what went wrong, and what could be better.
Ekta, you want me to give an overview of the session?
Yeah, because how did it go?
Okay.
And then you can start with your overview of how did it go in the sense that what went right, what went wrong, and what could be better.
Yeah.
And then Anita and Neha, as the people who were interviewing, they can tell their viewpoints to each of them separately.
Okay, so shall I also talk about both of them individually?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir,
Or you
sure.
want to do that later?
I think you can speak right now. And Neha,
Okay, ठीक है.
or 1 second, just a
All
moment.
right. So
Sir, just a moment. Actually, Neha has to leave around 1:45. She has some important assignment today. So can we ask Neha to speak first, and then we can take up you and Anita? Yeah, does that work?
So,
whatever.
Sure.
so that is about both the candidates, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
First of all, my request to Mr. Pranay Agrawal and as well as Prithvi, please bear with my feedback. So this is going to be very straight. I really appreciate your courage and coming over on this platform for the mock-up interview. It was very a nice experience while interacting to both of you. However, I'll suggest in case of Mr. Pranay Agrawal, he has to be little, I would say, uh, little confident as to what he's looking at and what he's looking forward in his own assignments into healthcare industry. There are a lot of hospitals available in the city where he is living, that is Mumbai. It's a plethora of healthcare organization where he can quickly join any of the hospital. However, he has to be very clear in his own mind, that is as to what is his role would be, how the organization is shaping up. We are talking about if Narayan Rudalaya, he has to be in Narayan Rudala mentally, and a little bit of homework would really help him to going further in the formal interview and taking up the very I would say the challenging assignment at the senior leadership post. He is a very experienced person coming out from his personal businesses, and he has gone and sailed through the business, I would say the P&L businesses and challenges lies in any kind of businesses. Just need to brush up little bit about the technical thing where about so-called healthcare and subjective matters. I think then he should be good to going. Otherwise, I found him a very kind and very I would say the very fun loving and smiling personality to talk to. And that's it from my side. So with that, I wish him very all the best. With regard to Prithvi, I really found him very energetic and kind of a straight person. He's a very straight and honesty is there. He also has come up with a lot of examples which he has passed through in his personal life, and he's able to relate to the hospital industry, and that is a very finest part. I really look forward, I'm looking in him that he's very confident, as well as very much good qualified, as well as aspirant, where he has worked as a volunteer, as a worked as a research associate, and taking the time into considering the decisions and all that. So I'm sure that he will do a good through his career. So these are all positives and negatives what I have to sum up here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anita, yeah.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Neha. And now we can have Commander Bali's. Neha, if you have to leave, then
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Excuse me, guys. I will have to leave bit early. Thank you, Commander Bali. Excuse me for a while and catch you up in the next time. Thank you, Anita, for having a very soundful conversation. Thank you, dear all. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, Ekta, you want me to?
Commander Bali, you can.
Okay, Pranay, can we have you on the video?
Yes,
okay, fine. So, Pranay, as you know, I am from NH, and you were talking about Narayana Health. I will sort of analyze this interview, and also I think I'm sure you will get some insights into what we think should be the right approach as far as you're concerned. Please remember, it is what we think, and it is not necessary that this is what you should think. All right. So please take it with a pinch of salt, or take it as just a sort of an advisory, not something that you need to follow 100% without doubt. So that is what I want to say. So first of all, I'm very happy to see your honesty. You have spoken about everything that you have spoken about. You have spoken with a lot of honesty and with a lot of forthrightness. But please remember, in an interview, that it is like a double-edged sword. You need to be honest where you ask some specific questions. But one thing that I think I would tell this for everyone who's listening here, that you cannot and you must not ever talk anything negative about your last organization or specific incidents about the promoters of the last organization or about the people whom you dealt with. Okay, so that is a big no. Never ever do that, and just keep it to one side. If there are tricky questions around that, I mean, you can always say that. I mean, you can, just be a very general answer in that and not go into very specific. So that is point number one. But having said that, as I said before, your honesty was really admirable. Now, the second part is that since you have already done a lot of things in your career and today you're doing a PhD, I mean, PhD is the highest educational degree in the country. It's like you've reached the pinnacle of your educational career. In my viewpoint, to be very straight with you, I think you should either be heading an organization as a CEO and not look at any other role because you have been into all these roles before. But better still, in my viewpoint, you must look at assignments which are in teaching hospitals, either into teaching or into research or into consultancy, because you have reached a level, after this, going into a basic nitty-gritties and handling of the operations of a hospital and administration of a hospital. You are always you're always going to find conflicts. It's very difficult to be in an absolutely idealistic situation where everything is going to be exactly the way you want it, because it's not going to happen now. And the healthcare industry has changed. It's now tremendously, one is technologically oriented, and second is the corporate healthcare means profiteering. You need to be able to handle P&L, which you have done so. But given your inclination that you went ahead and did your PhD, or you're doing your PhD, which is an extremely tough thing to do, because getting a PhD, you put in around 4-5 years of your life doing research and into it. And I think that should be one of your core strengths going forward, to get into either dealing with such institutions which teach, or into consultancy or research. More than that, I also feel that in this stage of your professional career, as you rightly said, for you, mental peace is more important, than getting your health spoiled. And please remember, getting to head a hospital is like it's like a huge, place where it's very difficult to just keep your, mental health is one thing, but not getting into situations which will trouble you is very difficult. So you're going to get into situations which are extremely difficult. You will get into situations where you will have to put in a lot of mental stress on yourself. So if that is something that you're not ready to take, which is what you said, that you would rather have good health than putting yourself into a mental stress or into that, and that itself sort of corroborates my view that instead of getting into pure administration and operations kind of a role, I think it would be much better if you go into a role which is. And you also said that you had your own businesses which you have moved out, and you have taken your investments off the table, and you're comfortable on that. It doesn't actually matter so much that you need to do a classic job. I think this is something that I will certainly advise. When we ask this question about weaknesses, please remember, most of these questions are trick questions. Strengths and weaknesses, if you ask 10 people and 10 interviewers, 10 HR people, everyone will give a different answer to that. And you chose not to answer it. I think it is pretty all right. But all of us have weaknesses, but we don't have to tell about them in an interview. So, that was also okay. So overall, Pranay, in my viewpoint, this is what you should be doing. But I would still want Anita to sort of, take it from here before I come to Gopi Shetty, because I don't want to go to Gopi Shetty. Let it be in a flow, because then the right kind of message. And Anita, do let me know if I'm wrong in my assessment, because, I'm not a hardcore HR guy. So, it's quite likely that I'm going absolutely off the mark. All right. And, I would apologize for that. But this is what I think, Pranay should be doing. So, Pranay, I want to see Dr. Pranay Agarwal very soon, first of all. And that's what your research is almost at the end of this one. But this is what I personally feel that, you should be doing. Anita, over to you. Yeah. Then I'll come to our youngster, Prithvi.
So thanks, Commander Bali. And no, frankly, I would be completely okay with whatever you say, because in a real world situation, there will always be a business guy who will have his input. There will be an HR person and there will be a third person. So for especially a senior role, there will be multiple people offering multiple perspectives. So kindly stay with your own. But yeah, Pranay, with your permission, I will split hairs a little bit, if that's okay with you, in the larger interest of everybody taking back messages. Is that okay with you, Pranay? Okay, cool. Thank you. So what you did very well, I'll second what Commander Bali said. A lot of vulnerability, a lot of honesty, no sugarcoating, laying it out exactly the way it is, owning up to your journey 100%. I feel like those were some very good points, and also points that a leadership role will require. So I think stay that way, and I feel like that will hold you in good stead in future also. Some things that you could think about, and this applies to all of you, especially youngsters. Ask yourself, what is your presence when you're landing up for an interview, okay? And sometimes it is even smaller things like placement of the camera. Am I looking down? Am I looking up? Is it at my eye level? If need be, put some books and then put the camera or the phone stand, so that how do you manage your state or energy when you are there with the interviewer? Because remember, like it or not, you're under a microscope, okay? So even saying something like, yeah, hata kyun nahi dete, does send a certain message about you to the interviewer, okay? And the tragedy would be where just that slip of the tongue would, make the interviewer build a perception. We are all human beings. We'll all read information a specific way. So a classier thing would have been to say, I'm sorry, clearly today probably is a slightly difficult day for me. I'll just mute myself and figure out my connection and be back in a couple of seconds. And up mute karo, and then you say whatever you want to say to your kid. And then when you come back, it's showtime. So, kind of manage the presence. You do have a lovely smile. I wish you had smiled from the beginning in the interview. Thankfully, you did smile later on, so that's perfectly okay. Then while answering questions, whether it's a trick question or a direct question or a general, genuine question, please ask yourself, when I'm answering this, what is the purpose that I have in mind? Okay. Is the purpose that I have to show I'm 100% truthful guy? Or is the purpose that I want to land this job, which means I want to come across as someone who fits the competencies of this role? Because your answers should be dictated by this thought rather than be honest for the sake of being honest. Because remember, ultimately, why do we communicate with anybody? Because we want to achieve something out of that communication. So if that is not happening, then I must reflect ki us communication ka kya fayda hai. So when you say things like, that did not suit me, I did not like remote area, my family was in Bombay and I was in one small, place where nothing was there. Now, to someone who's listening, it feels like there is a slight pattern that is forming. Ki the slightest hint of trouble and this person will probably escape, which by the way may not be the truth at all. And that's the reason why interview communication and why we are even doing sessions like this is so significant. So the way you might want to answer these, like Commander Bali said, and that's 100% correct, no specifics, please, especially when the details are unsavory. Try and giving any specifics. In fact, don't give any specifics. Also see what is the positive spin to the story that you can give. Now, of course, when you say positive spin, I'm not at all suggesting you should lie or misrepresent or say something because you want to sound positive. But to me, the way I would talk about family being in another city and me being in a village would be, at that point of time, because my kids were at a certain age, I made a conscious call to get back to them than be in a remote location. Now that will sound a little more richer compared to the fact that mujhse rural environment jhela nahi gaya, which is how it appears when you answer something a certain way. Same thing with regards to, people fighting. Just say that, so rather than take specifics, you could say, yes, I agree with you, Neha, I agree with you, Anita. If somebody looks at my CV, it'll look like this person was really jumping from one place to another. But may I take the liberty to say that there were very valid reasons why these movements happened. Like one reason was the organization itself went bankrupt. In another time, I just realized I wanted to be with my family, which means moving out of the location where that hospital was situated. In another case, I felt like there was, something more that I needed to contribute, but I could not. And hence that place was not the right place for me. So, it has to come in a way that the interviewer feels कि नहीं ठीक है, ये हो सकता है, people may jump jobs a lot, but there are genuine reasons why these jumps have happened, and the person has taken back something from those experiences. Okay, so that's one thing. One thing where I'll probably differ a little bit from Commander Bali is the weaknesses question. I'm sorry, sir, but after 30 years, we do expect self-awareness to some extent, especially from a doctoral candidate. So maybe saying something like, how will I know my own weaknesses? I'm not sure is a great way to put it. If you really don't know, the way to answer it would be, yes, I know this is something I should reflect. But if you ask, say, 3 people in my life, in my professional context, this is what they will probably say. And because hum log koi sarvagun sampann nahi hai na, so it's okay to have weaknesses. But if you don't know what your weaknesses are, then it is worth reflecting as to if someone else were to be asked, what could those weaknesses be? And then maybe still say, but yeah, nobody's perfect, and I am trying to work on these to be a better rounded professional. And of course, Narayana, health research not being available at your level, the research not only has to be there. If by any chance they're considering some venture capital funding or some IPO release, that's something you have to know. Like I would have probably stopped Commander Bali for 10 days before coming to this workshop, and I would have known like every detail there is to be known about the brand. Okay. So yeah, so kindly answer keeping in mind the competencies of the role, and that I feel would really increase your chances if you're seriously looking for a job. Overall, I think you really have a lot of great qualities. You can be a great teacher and mentor to certain sections of hospital administrations. Just add on a little bit, because remember, people will expect you to have cutting edge information, which means operating computers is not operating Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It is artificial intelligence. It is latest software which is economically viable for a brand, depending on the size of the brand. So yeah, that's. I'm so sorry, but in the interest of everybody's learning, I thought it's helpful to be honest. But I truly, applaud your courage and vulnerability to take the decision to be here. And for that, I'm truly grateful to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Commander Bali.
Yeah. So, Pranay, what Anita, thank you for that weakness thing. I think that's why you are so good. I told you that disclosure in the beginning that I might be totally off the mark, but thank you so much for telling everyone that how they should answer this question. It's very, very important because this question gets asked many times in interviews. 2-3 questions like what are your strengths and weaknesses? How do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? These are standard questions I've heard so many times.
Yes.
But I think very, very glad that you sort of clarified that. Thank you so much. So Pranay, I think I'll take one last thing from what Anita talked about you, that to put yourself into such a vulnerable position that you have put yourself today, where there are many, many more people still watching. And to be honest in an interview like this, I think it's very courageous. And for that, I think we really, really want to thank you, because it's not so easy for one to put yourself into this thing where everyone is just watching, and you are being sort of grilled by two lovely ladies. So but thank you so much. It's I mean, there are 2-3 important learnings from what we do here, should be for everyone. One is that, of course, we go through this process. We also share life journeys, like you have said today. We take a lot of learnings from here. And I think overall, it is the betterment for everyone if positive, links are taken up from there. I hope what you have done today and what you've gone through today, and little bit of insight from our side, they would help you in your future journey. As I said in the beginning, I want to end with that again once more, that these are our opinions. These are what we feel so. But Pranay, it's after all your life. It's after all how you think. And there is many times, exactly in this 30 minutes or 1 hour, I cannot, put exactly into what kind of life you're living, what is exactly happening in your mind, what you are trying to do. And very, very tough call. But all the best to you with whatever you're thinking. But I'm sure with this honesty, there are many paths which are open in front of you. We are very sure about that. Thank you so much, Pranay.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's come to our youngster, Gopi Shetty. Prithvi, sorry. See, you are, first of all, I think we loved your first answer, that you're fantastic. That's how youngsters should be. And if you're starting off your professional career and you're not first fantastic, then I think, talking about the physical attributes of an interview, once more, I think what Anita has spoken about, that you need to check your internet. You need to check your positioning of light on your face. You need to check up your audio. And this has to be done if you are having, online interviews, because a lot of these interviews now are happening online. I suggest keeping a table and chair, keeping a table lamp, which is on your face, or a light, not having a light in behind you, which is right now there. You have a window behind you, checking up your audio properly. And Anita even went ahead to say that you could have a book. Many times we are looking down, because a laptop or your device is below that. So that's very, very important, especially because, all these things make your presentation. You're not sitting physically in front of the interviewer, but if all these things are taken care, so it's very, very good. Anyway, coming to some of the, I have very few points, Anita, for Gopi. I think you take on for the rest. See, you are a computer BTech in computers, right, Gopi?
Yes.
And huge amount of development happening in health tech and digital healthcare right now. So there are tremendous amount of opportunities available in healthcare right now. But clearly, I could not get from the entire interview what exactly you wanted to do. I don't know, maybe I missed a point. But the recommendation would be for you, if you really want to sort of combine health tech along with, your computer knowledge along with healthcare. So that is where you need to look at. There are a lot of these health tech companies which are not startups, because a lot of youngsters maybe don't want to join startups because obviously the uncertainties. But that is one thing that you need to look at. One more thing that I found, this is again a normal common observation, that whenever someone is asking you a question in an interview, please wait for a while, let the question be completed, and then you answer that question. See, don't have to jump into, that sort of gives. Also, there was a discussion about what some people whom you have worked with, will say about you. It's a very, very important question, I've seen. And I think your answers to that, I somehow was not very happy with them. Maybe Anita will tell more about, what you should have answered or how you can answer. You're a young guy. The world is in front of you. It's open up. There is no dearth of opportunities for people like you. I don't have to say much about it. And also you will start your career now. So, it's a long way ahead. You will take part in many, many interviews. You will go to many organizations. You'll get different opportunities. You have to choose between opportunities, because you are at that stage of your life when, the entire runway is ahead of you for you to fly. So all the best to you. And I'm sure you will find yourself, when you start your career into something that you feel at this point of time, but as you go on your professional journey, you will see that you won't even know where you will land up after 10 years. I mean, it could be a totally different thing than what you're thinking right now, but that's all right. That's what makes the journey so much more interesting. But you have a tremendous amount of leverage right now in healthcare because of this huge paradigm shift from a traditional analogous healthcare into a more modernistic and digital healthcare. You spoke again. So Anita will say. So that I think is very, very important. But I think overall, again, the point that we spoke earlier about Pranay, honesty, I think integrity, I think these are some of the qualities that are very, very important. And, these are something that a lot of interviewers, a lot of companies look forward. And I think you have them ample in you. Thank you so much. Anita, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commander Bali. And Prithvi, yeah, I totally agree with him when he talked about the courage part of it. You are super bold, and that's a lovely, lovely quality to have. And the good part, and I'm purposely mentioning this for the rest of your benefit, that sometimes boldness can come across as arrogance. So, but this was like courage with the right touch of emotion. So I feel like you've cracked that. Please try and stay this way forever. With regards to some specifics about the interview, see, the interviewer sometimes, because they are lazy, can ask a very broad question, like, tell me something about yourself. Okay, so tell me something about yourself is a very broad question. Or how has your life journey been so far? Okay. Now remember, interview is a conversation. So ideally, you should not give one word answers. So probably what I could have done, if I want to say fantastic, is something like, okay, so if I understand you right, you want me to share about my journey so far. I'm happy to say it's been fantastic. So the way I'll answer this question is in two parts. One, what's happened on my workplace front, and the other, what's happened in my personal front, which will include some things from my college life. Would that be okay with you? And then say professionally, I'm in my very first job and I'm loving it. This is what I do. This is what I get to learn on a day-to-day basis. And personally, this is where I was born and brought up, and this is where I have grown. And as a student, some things that have shaped me into who I am are by being a student volunteer and on the board of ABC associations. So even where the interviewer is not giving a structure or a context, you as an interviewee or a candidate can give a context. So then what happens is the interviewer immediately is like, okay, I have asked a general thing, he has told something general. That doesn't happen. You immediately sit up and take notice, because the structure is the articulation, the power of communication, the structuring of the thoughts becomes so good. Okay. Now, with regards to other things that you answered, I really feel that everything was very good. Actually, there's nothing to talk about. Yes, again, with regards to strengths and weaknesses, always, like Commander Bali said, wait for the question to complete. Because I clearly asked, what will they say? Okay, take a pause. Okay, take a pause. Because remember, it's not about you blurting out what you have heard from them for many times. This is not about that. Okay, which is how it was when you answered. Whereas what you want to do is you want to really reflect, because I can guarantee you, Prithvi, if I were to really call them up, probably they would be more kinder than you think they will be. And that's how references generally are. Okay, because nobody wants to really screw up somebody's life. They'll want to be kind to that person. So take a pause, go through all your experiences with those people and say, I feel they could probably be sharing this. And always start with the positives. Because remember, you ultimately don't know what they'll share. And so there is no need to be so sure that this is what they'll share. So say, yeah, so I feel like this is what they will feel are my strengths. And these are three things they will probably point out as, this. With regards to the positive, sabse pehle to you should say that first. Secondly, you had, I think, one positive, which is committed, right? Now, whenever you have one positive, rather than saying, they will only say that I'm committed, you might want to say, the highlight that they will talk about is about my commitment. So what happens is then there is no mental imbalance in the mind of the interviewer that, okay, only one good quality, three bad qualities. You get what I'm saying? So when we use words like only, just, I just did this, or I only know this, you're bringing the value of your thing down. Does that make sense, Prithvi? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that, and what else? Yeah, nothing else. Otherwise, I think you are pretty fine. Always paraphrase. In fact, I found that in case of Pranay also, guys, it's a conversation. So make it like a conversation with a lot of softer skills. Like, thank you for asking this question. I'm happy you asked this question, to the interviewer. Neither it becomes like a very clinical, I said, you said, I said kind of a thing. So yeah, use those softer elements, and I think you will ace a lot of interviews in your life. Okay. So that's
Thank
where
you.
I'm at. Yeah. I hope it was useful, Prithvi. Thank you for being here. Okay.
Yeah, it was very useful actually. I just got to learn a lot, and I have attended previous sessions of Career by Design as well, but this is the most informative one because I'm in this. I got a lot of experiential learning here. Thank you very much for that.
Hot seat. Yes.
Thank you, Prithvi. Thank you, Anita and Commander Bali. So I'll open the house for a few questions. If someone has any question regarding what went, about what happened right now, if you have any questions, related to interviews, how you should face them, any specific questions, we are welcome to, answer these.
Also share any thoughts.
Yeah.
Commander Bali, Ekta, Neha and me are also human beings, and we have our set of experiences. But would love for any of you to share.
What are your learnings, from today's session? Would you like more of these sessions to happen? If there is something we could add on to apart from this.
What are some tough situations you might have faced? Is there anything you want to clarify?
Anything, just, the more you ask, the more we learn.
Hello, Ekta, Mahesh here, and thanks
Mahesh.
to Anita. Yeah, thanks to Anita and then Bali sir. Actually, it was very nice session, and there was a lot of takeaways, and a lot of understandings also were there for me. So one thing where one point where I want to highlight is, see, when the negatives are asked, okay, what are your weaknesses? See, if Pranay, when we was discussing, he was said one point, he was working for 12 hours, 13 hours, right? So that was actually a positive one. Actually, you can put it across in such a way that it may be a weakness where I'm committed more, or I'm giving more amount of time to the work. Again, it will be a weakness, but it will be a positive one. That's what I feel. It can be done in that way as well.
Okay. So is there a question, Dr. Mahesh?
Just it was my thought process. So that it and excellently, I think bang on. You people were saying that, see, whenever we go for a senior management role, it's our duty to do the homework properly. So even PNL, and also what I feel is we need to evaluate what are the gaps, where you will be able to help them, where are the business untapped business points, where are there, what are those? Please make them a note and explain, highlight them. What are the plans you have in that for them? What you can bring in, where they'll be able to make more amount of business. That is actually the important thing.
Correct. Agreed. I think valuable points. And Dr. Mahesh, I just want to add one thing here. See, in fact, that's applicable to all of you. Please try and understand, why do interviewers ask something? So when we share about some strengths or weaknesses, what we are really trying to establish is, are you humble enough to articulate it the right way? Are you self-aware? Have you undertaken any kind of a reflection? Especially as and when you move levels, it's no longer a matter of technical and functional skills, because you will have a team to work with. But your larger skills will be, okay, can I get along with people? Can I inspire people to move towards a certain direction? So that way, that self-awareness is what we are checking, and the articulation. So it's not about whether I've told I'm working for 12 hours and is that a good thing or a bad thing. We all know all this is subjective.
Okay. Fine.
If you're working for Elon Musk, if you're working less than 18 hours, then sorry, boss. I mean, like, you can't. Mars, how will he put you in Mars?
No. Just no correlating on the weaknesses into the positive way, so that I'm very, I can't say no to people when they are coming to me and they are approaching me. I'm very hard to say no to them. But I may get committed, over committed also sometimes, where I may not be able to work balance it. Work-life balance may not happen because of my overcommitment, where you are stretched yourself so much.
Yeah. True that.
And also, I think one important thing where I was also just going through the intro session of Pranay. See, when they say that NABH and all those things, when you go into a place where you want to implement an NABH, so the first thing is, so awareness should be there. First, whether they are newly they are coming up, what are the preparations in place? What are the preparations? What are the training sessions to be there? How you are screening the people? How you are selecting them? What is the important thing which will add on by getting onto the NABH? Some sort of just should be there to the downline people also, so that they will get engaged with that whatever the plan you have. That's what I feel.
No, sure. As per the level you're applying at, you should know how will that project move forward.
Yeah, because they automatically become connected actually, because whatever they are doing, if you are explaining to them the importance of it and output of it and how you can be beneficial for the betterment of the organization and the business, then definitely I think we can get all their yeses to us very well.
Sure, makes sense.
Dr. Shashikant wanted to ask something, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Navneet sir, Anita and Ekta, and that was a very wonderful session which was conducted, and that was a very creative of you to think this way, that you have selected a very, on one side a fresher and one side an experienced guy who have experience in so and so, very large amount of experience. But one thing more is that if every interviewer should put his individual perspective and its organizational perspective that is conveyed to the interviewer. That is very important for all of us. And the weakness point, my perspective on conveying about weakness is that, let's say everybody has its weakness, and how we gel together as a team and cover our weakness from the strengths of others should be our aim properly. And that is a matter of convenience for a person, whether you want to disclose your weakness or not. And one thing important is that you have to be a conversationalist in an interview like this. It need not be a static voice, yes or no. You already covered that. Majority of the points were covered, and ultimately a very well conducted session and a lot of insights into it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Shashikant.
Thank you, Dr. Shashikant. I think Soumya wants to say something.
Yeah, Soumya.
Hi, Anita, Ekta, Bari sir. So I have been working as a business analyst for 10 years, and out of which I work for healthcare industry for 4 years. Okay, so it's actually a software company, so that produces HMIS and EHR. So when I just need to know what is the what is there in mind of an interviewer when we apply for a hospital job. See, as a business analyst, we mainly focus on the business and what is the requirement that we want from the client, and we implement that, and we target to complete that too. But when I apply in hospital, right, so they normally say you don't have a hospital background, so we cannot proceed with the resume. So I think, is that a valid one? I mean, I don't know. I already have a 4 years of experience in the healthcare domain for US healthcare. So I don't know that is it a valid one, or what is there in their mind?
Okay, shall I take that, Commander Bali? So valid or not, if it is there, no, Soumya. So that is the first thing to be okay with. Here's what I would try differently. Remember, you want to establish your know-how specifically with regards to hospitals, which means I would give 2-3 case examples about how the analysis that you can probably come up with will affect the top line or the bottom line of the hospital that you're applying for.
Okay.
Is that making sense, Soumya?
Yeah.
So okay. You give and you tell the recruiter, you tell the interviewer that I if it's okay with you, I'd like you to go through that. And I've chosen to put that first and then the rest of my experience. And so you give the case study, because ultimately what will people want? What will an organization want? How does it affect my top line and the bottom line, correct? Or how does it affect the 4 elements of operational success, quality, quantity, time, speed. So how is whatever analysis that you can come up with affect one of these P&L parameters in a positive way? So if you can, by researching, either give a live case that has been done somewhere else, or study a live case and give your own interpretation for this particular hospital where you're applying it. Now think about it. This will require a little bit of in-depth study, which means you should be able to say you have 5 urban hospitals, 6 semi-urban hospitals. They are probably at this percentage of a profit or loss. And let's say you want to move it by 2%. How business analyst can help you is. And if you could do that, that will definitely strengthen your profile. And also take away the hesitation that you don't have a direct experience in the hospital admin.
Okay, sure.
And if you're not putting it in the profile, definitely if you're getting face time, you should be talking about the case studies.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Soumya?
Yeah. I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Gayatri?
Yeah, Gayatri.
Yes.
Hi, very good afternoon. I'm working in a healthcare since 14 years. Now I'm working as an operations manager in such a corporate sector. Whenever we faced an interview, it's a common question: why do you want to leave this organization? Where you are very much comfortable. Where Bali sir said we should not give the negative points about the previous organization. But we're not giving any negative point about the previous organization. But when we are trying to explain the situation, what we are facing, literally, maybe how to answer this question? Like, why do we wanted to leave the present organization where we are working since longer time?
So why do you want to leave the organization? As in, what is your honest answer? Then we will talk about how to answer it.
Yeah. Definitely for the better opportunities and better learning opportunities, as well as the revenue point of view. Also, we wanted to leave the organization which we are working for. I have worked for a corporate hospital for 11 years where I turned my career from the executive side to the manager position. But still, I wanted to leave my position where I can earn more and I can learn more. Where I'm with the same work style, where I'm in the same position, same duties, what I'm handling as an executive and as a manager also.
Okay.
I wanted to change my organization for the better opportunities and better, revenue perspective is also very much important for nowadays living.
So why do you think it is wrong to answer this? That, however cliched it might sound, I think I'm looking for more earnings and more learnings, and that's why I'm looking for a change. What do you think is wrong with this answer?
I answered the same thing, but is there any better way to present myself? Like, I just came up with this question where I can present more better.
Well, can I answer the question?
Yeah, sure, Shashi.
Yeah. Well, the answer to this question is I'll take my situation where I am I've completed more than 4 years of service in uniform and I'm administrating all service hospitals. So, government organization has its own fallacies and weaknesses, and whatever you're saying that it lacks growth. So it is never. I don't think it is very bad to say that I want to move out of this place because there is a lack of opportunity of growth, and I want to earn more money, because all of us knows till middle managerial levels the pay perks are much better than corporate in government hospitals. But beyond a middle managerial level, if you compare the pay perks in government organization versus corporate organization or private organizations, they are much more. So I want to move out for growth, for money. I don't think it is a bad enough reason to be clarified in the interview.
Okay. So again, remember the challenge here was to try and answer without bad mouthing the previous organization, right? So I feel like Gayatri, one of the things you could do is explore what are you seeking in the new organization, which is specific to that organization. Like example, let's say I have been working in a government setup, or I've been working somewhere for a long time, and now I'm wanting to move to say NH. I mean, like, I don't know where you work, but let's say I want to move to a certain hospital. Then if I was you, I would pick something that is very unique to that new workplace and say that this is one of the things that I want to explore for myself in my career, and hence I want to move. Or to extrapolate what Shashi said, I hope it's okay, I'm calling you Shashi. So what he said, you can say something like, government organizations are brilliant because of the sheer variety of cases that they provide. But I felt like I was ready to move on and explore ABC things, which I feel private sector provides. And that need not be money. Does that make sense, Gayatri?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Commander Bali, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, these are, some of those questions which keep coming up again and again. Why do you want to leave the organization? Where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Standard questions. And what Gayatri, you talked about specifically when we said that you need to answer this question without talking negative. It is possible because you're not talking negative about the organization. When you say that you have reached a stagnation now, you have reached a point beyond which you don't see a growth in their organization, and this is what you want to work. That is something number one. Second, Shashi also spoke about money. I think you could also talk about it, that commensurate to my experience and my knowledge and what I've done so far, I think I deserve to be paid more. It is all right. To say that also, it's fine. These are something that actually speaking, when a candidate is sitting in front of you, and when you ask that why do you want to leave that company, until unless you start bad mouthing that company, start talking bad about the company, I think many answers are acceptable. It is not something that is going to put you off the mark at all. But usually, as I see, why do people want to leave their company? There are 3-4 reasons. Number one, you are stagnating. Number two, you're not being paid well. Third, another reason is when you have a terrible manager. As you said, people leave managers, not companies. In this particular case, the third one, let us say you have a terrible manager. I think it's a very, very tricky situation. Again, to answer this question in context of if you have a terrible manager and you still want to answer, this is where I think is the most trickiest part. The first two are not. Here, I think you could talk about joining a better work environment or whatever, I think in a very, very guarded manner, because again, pointing a finger at your manager in an interview is going to be putting you in a negative thing, because again, you're going to speak negative about someone. Other than that, I think the reasons are quite acceptable whenever there are interviews. There is no issue at all.
In fact, a money conversation can be had very interestingly, where you can openly say if there is a life situation that has changed, either you got married or you have children now, or you're having some personal aspirations that you'd like to fulfill for yourself. Medical bills of family members need to be taken care. So just be honest. I don't think it should matter at all. Like,
in fact, a point like commute to the workplace, where it takes you 1 hour every day, and this workplace is right next to it, and I want to be closer home, and I want to reach my workplace in 15 minutes, a good enough answer. Okay. Yes. It is something that obviously there are many more things. You won't leave an organization just because it is, far from your house, but along with that, there are other things. So, these are also all of them are good reasons.
Also, I think what the interviewers sometimes simply are trying to spot is, are you flinching? Are you comfortable saying something is not working? It's not working. You can actually say that and get away with it, as long as you're saying it in a congruent manner. See, they should not sense a hesitation or a doubt. Wo vibe mein na, there cannot be a gadbad. So are you flinching? So that you should not flinch. You feel a certain way. Say that, yeah, I feel like I can work better in an environment like this. And I feel like that is possible in this hospital that I'm applying for. And I'm just be cool as a cucumber. You actually can answer whatever you want.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so Pranay also had raised his hand in between. Pranay, would you like to ask your question? Or is it sorted?
I got the answer to my question already from
Okay, thanks. So that brings us perhaps to the end of this session today. Are there any other questions, or can we wind up for today?
If I can make a request, I think all of you don't treat these interventions, or rather treat these interventions as just a work in progress, which means if I was you, I would constantly engage with Career by Design posts, amazing workplaces posts, keep the conversation going. You know, we attended this, then we attended an interview, we came across this question, your thoughts. And I'll tell you what is a big advantage of this. Today, many recruiters will also check out your social media profiles. And if they see you as someone who's a conversation builder, if they see you as someone who's proactive to do networking, if they see you as a curious person, you never know who gets brownie points for what purpose. So I think participate in conversations. Like you're wonderfully doing today. And I feel like that could help a lot. Ekta, would that be okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So be it Commander Bali, be it Anita, or be it Amazing Workplaces or my own profile, we keep putting up, certain very important information every now and then. And if you can build conversations around it, it would definitely help you. And by us, even other profiles, on LinkedIn, we can build conversations around topics that interest you. I think that would be a great, like Anita mentioned, it could be build brownie points for you. And who knows, the next recruiter might just come across your profile as interesting. And you land up your dream job because of that. Yeah.
And mindset, guys, concentrate on mindset. It's a big thing. Like today, if I were to be a participant in this, as in if I was getting interviewed, I would be like, can Commander Bali call me after the session and actually consider talking to me about a job? I would operate with that intention. I would operate with that mindset. I would do my preparation based on that. So I think today, with so much of talent that is available, you have to ask yourself, what is the sharpest thing that I can keep doing? So, yeah.
So I would like to add one more thing here to what Anita just said before this about, engaging on LinkedIn. Like 2 people were supposed to be interviewed today, but if they had put that post, from their own profiles, it would have made a lot of difference. It would have, actually pulled more people to attend this session, to view you, and it would have actually shown you as somebody who's trying to make a difference in this sphere, right? So from next time onwards, if something like this happens, make sure that you do things like that to enhance your own profile building, right?
Correct.
So that's it from my side. And if I have your permission, I can end this session with a finishing note. Yeah.
Cool. Keep in touch, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
So just a moment. Let me update you about when our next session is also happening. Okay.
Ekta, can I step out?
Just a moment. It will take 1 minute.
Yeah.
So we end today's workshop with a big thank you to all of you who have joined us here today. And we are really proud to have all of you as a part of this wonderful session. Thank you, Commander Bali, Anita, Neha, Pranay, and Prudvi for giving us your valuable time. We're all lucky to be able to, learn through your experiences. And we also thank our sponsors, Upgrade Recruit, for placing their trust in our venture. And yes, a big thank you to all of you for being a part of this session. It's always incomplete without a great audience. Do join us on our next CBD session on 26th June. Till then, stay in touch with us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Commander Bali.
Thank you, Commander Bali.
Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you, Ekta. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.